We want to write the slope-intercept equation. Now, as soon as I see that, I'm thinking this. I'm thinking, all right, this is what I want. Y equals mx plus b. So I need to get this and get this, all right? That's where we're headed. So write the slope-intercept form of a line passing through this point and parallel to this line right here. All right, so here's what I know. I've got this point right here, 2, 5, and our line is parallel to, let me get all of it here, y equals 7/3 x plus 2. Now, I do know this. Two lines are parallel. All right, so I'll say L1 is parallel to L2 if the slope of 1 is equal to the slope of 2. Now, what's the slope that we're looking at? We want parallel lines. So here's the slope of line 2. All right, I'm going to say that this is line 2. It doesn't matter, but that slope is 7/3. So I know that this one has to be 7/3. All right, so here's what I know. I now have that the line passes through this point and it has slope 7/3. All right, so I also have this, that the slope is 7/3. Okay, so now this is the information that I've got. So I know this. As soon as I see, write the slope-intercept form, write the equation of a line. I'm thinking this. Okay, y equals mx plus b, or y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Right? Every time I see write the equation of a line, these are the forms I think of. And then I always try to use this one. Now, to use this one, it's easy because all you need is the slope, which we have, but you also need b. You need the y-intercept. Now, this is not the y-intercept, right? The y-intercept always looks like this. The y-intercept has this form, 0 something, right? If the y-intercept is where the curve is where the line crosses the y-axis. So the x value is always 0. Right, so you always need a 0 here. We don't have a 0, we have a 2. So I'm going to use this form down here. All right, so here's where I'm headed. I'm going to use this form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 with, and here's the information I know, m is equal to 7/3. x1, right, the first x value I see, or the only one I see, is this one here, the 2, so x1 is 2, and y1 is 5. So x1 is 2, y1 is 5, so let's just substitute these values in to this form. We're going to get y minus y1, which is 5, equals m 7/3 times the x minus x1, which is 2. Okay, let's distribute. So we'll get y minus 5 is equal to 7/3 x. Now, positive 7/3 times negative 2 is negative, just multiply the tops. You get 14 over 3. Okay, we're close. Let's deal with this 5. So we're going to add 5. So we'll get y is equal to, right, I'll add 5. Negative 5 plus 5 goes out. We get 7/3 x minus 14/3 plus 5. Okay, now add those two. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you something up here, and it works every time. If you have a fraction like a over b plus a whole number, whenever you have a fraction plus a whole number, all you have to do is multiply here and then add in here. So I get like, multiply b times c and then add the a. All right, so what we have is negative 14/3 plus 5. I'll multiply, getting 15, and then add in the 14. It's really a subtraction here, right? 14 over 3. So I get 1/3. All right, so that's what I'm going to do over here. Do another one. Just do another one. What if we have 5/4 plus 9? Okay, 4 times 9 is 36. Add in the 5 plus 5, put the whole thing over 4. So we get 41 over 4. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So I'm going to get y equals 7/3. Now, what did we just say? It's going to be minus 14. 3 times 5 is 15, all over the 3. And now right here, negative 14 plus 15 is a 1. So we're going to get y equals 7/3 x plus 1/3. All right, this line, if I call that, say, L1, all right, then I have L1 is parallel to L2 and actually passes through that point 2, 5, right back here at the top. So my new line, L1, is parallel to this line right here. Now let's get a line that's perpendicular to this line. So here's what I do know. I know that line 1 is perpendicular to line 2 if the slope of line 1 is equal to negative 1 over the slope of line 2. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I need to get the slope. So M1 is going to be negative 1 over, now what's the slope of this line over here? The slope of this line is 7/3, okay? So I know that M2 is 7/3, and then negative 1 over 7/3, you just flip it over, negative 3 over 7. All right, so negative 1 over a fraction is just negative, invert the fraction. Okay, so this is the slope right here. That's the slope of this line right here. Now I want my line to be perpendicular, so I'm just going to take the negative reciprocal. It's called negative reciprocal. Okay, so just flip it over. So I get negative, and then flip it over, 3 over 7. Okay, so here's what I have. I have that the slope is equal to negative 3/7, and the line passes through this point, 2, 5. So I'm going to use y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 with m equal to negative 3/7, x1 equal to 2, y1 equal to 5. So let's substitute. So I'm going to get y minus y1, which is the 5, equals m, negative 3 over 7, times x minus x1, which is the 2. Let's multiply. I'll do it up here to the right where we have some room. Y minus 5 is equal to negative 3/7 x. Now, negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6 over 7. All right, we're close. Now, let's add 5. So we will get y equals negative 3 over 7x plus 6 over 7, and then plus 5. Now, I'm going to use that little technique we did in the first part of this problem. Here's what I'm going to get. Y is equal to negative 3/7 x. Now, what are we going to get? Plus. Okay, multiply. So I'll get 7 times 5, add in the top, put it all over the 7. So y is equal to negative 3 over 7x plus, all right, 7 times 5 is 35. 35 plus 6, 41 over 7. All right, so if I call this line 1, line 1 is now perpendicular to line 2 because they have negative reciprocal slopes, right? This slope over here was 7/3, and this is negative 1 over 7/3. Oh, now this one's interesting in this sense here. What we want to do is write the equation for a line passing through this point. All right, we've got this point right here, 8, negative 8, but it's parallel to this line, right? It's parallel to this line. Now this line is x equals negative 7. Now, when you have just one variable, and that's all we have is one variable, if you have either just one variable, if it's x equals some number, then you have a vertical line, and that's what we have in this case. We have a vertical line passing through this number right here. So this number right here is -7. Now, can we write the equation of a line that is parallel to this one, right? We want parallel to this one, but it has to pass through this point. All right, now if it's going to be a vertical line, it's going to have to pass through 8. All right, so our line would be this one over here, passing through 8. So my equation is going to be this. X equals 8. That is a vertical line passing through 8, and it's parallel to this vertical line. Now, one slight problem here is that it says, write a slope-intercept equation. I can't. A slope-intercept equation is this. Y equals mx plus b. But there is no y in this case, all right? So that part really just doesn't work here. Now, the second part asks us to write the equation of a line that's perpendicular to this line. All right, so now what I want is, I still have that line, x equals -7, and I know this is vertical. Okay, so what is perpendicular? If you have a vertical line, perpendicular is horizontal, right? And horizontal lines always look like this. Y equals some number. Okay, now our number is that one right there, right? I want it to pass through this point. Okay, so what number am I going to put in here? I'm going to put in this y right here, because I know it has to pass through 8, -8. So that's going to be the y value. So put in a -8 here. So here's our equation for the perpendicular line. Y equals -8. So true or false? This line here, that's a vertical line passing through -5, and this line here are perpendicular. Well, no, look, I don't think so, right? This is vertical. Oh, that's no good. This is vertical. This is vertical. Two vertical lines are not perpendicular, so this is false. Now, if they would have said this, x is -5 and y equals -5, this is vertical, this is horizontal, then I would have said true.